Juice heads. The beast. We know what the fuck that means. Looking like the corn-fed fucking country boy he is. All right, so we're gonna lower the wrestling for a second. And yeah, welcome to episode 4 of season 2 of my wrestling show, repackaged as the drink along, because your pal Juice needs cocktails to watch the WWE. It's just so bad. And I have a special guest coming on from my other show, and I'll tell you, he's not necessarily a wrestling fan, but once you're with something for 30 years, you're sort of with it. You know, you got to stick with it through the good and the bad, and the bad's been very bad. And we all know that. If you're watching this show, you know that. That's a pretty goddamn good cocktail. Hey, it's Friday night. We all learned it. And especially if you're going to put yourself through watching Smackdown, you kind of need one. But anywho, let's bring on our special guest because it's rude to keep people waiting in the green room. And here he is, the man, the myth, the legend, Angry Steve.
What's up? What's up?
Trying to see what looks best here. All right, yeah, we'll do that. We'll do that sort of prezzo.
We're doing the side by side.
Yeah, we'll do different show, different format.
Yeah.
And yeah, so I was actually, my ideas come to me, right? And just like any other artist, they'll tell you when they're writing, sometimes they don't know like where the words come from. They'll just write and write and write, and it's almost like divine intervention when they come up with something that they wrote. They're like, whoa, like there was something channeling through me that came to my brain and went to my fingers to get this out there. And I had that epiphany just about 40 minutes ago in the shop, right? When I was like, it's really not cool to be a wrestling fan. It's really not popular to be a wrestling fan. So I was like, what if I rebranded this show instead of the drink along? What if I called it Wrestling Anonymous? So I go on YouTube and I see like, if anyone had thought of that name already. Sure enough, a guy that we're going to see tonight on the other, there's 2 federations now. On the other federation, this guy, Cole Cabana, who is the first wrestler podcast guru, already came up with that name because he's fucking rebooted his podcast more times than Andy Dick's changed his vibrator. You know what I'm saying? So that was my little spiel. I had this great idea to call the show Wrestling Anonymous, but for now it's the drink along. And you know what? Like I said, you got to drink to watch SmackDown these days. You got to drink to watch Monday Night Raw these days. And I hate drinking on Monday night because you're setting yourself up for a really bad week. But thank God for DVRs. I did a wrestling show once, and I have my little bullet points ahead of time. And I actually put as one of the bullet points on one of my wrestling shows, thank God for DVRs. But let's check out what's going on with Brock Lesnar right now. Are you familiar with Brock Lesnar? So a friend, Angry Steve, or tonight he might not be angry. He's just Steve.
I'm just Steve on the wrestling show.
Are you aware of Brock Lesnar?
Yeah.
Yeah, so he's a little bit of a household name. Okay, yeah. So like the barometer for someone like you is like if you heard of them, then that means like they've made it.
Yeah, I don't even necessarily know what he looks like, but I know that, I know who Brock Lesnar is because but the neighbor's kid was into wrestling, so he's the one that turned me on to Stone Cold Steve Austin and some of these new wrestlers that were like after my childhood.
Yeah. So they've been it's nice to see Pat McAfee is back. Do you know Pat McAfee at all?
The guy in the suit, right?
No, Pat McAfee's on commentary. He was out last week. I was worried he was gone forever because there's a lot of hits and misses in the WWE with the commentary people. And Pat McAfee is like an outsider. He made it I think on the radio or like with like a sports website or something. I'm not super familiar with him. But it's like a breath of fresh air because usually the commentators are like WWE homegrown people that get trained Vince McMahon's way of doing things.
Yeah.
Vince McMahon's a little bit of a micromanager. So it's always nice when there's like a fresh outsider face in there.
Okay.
And again, the thing I harp on, anybody that's watched my shows, I preach and preach and preach. Don't be afraid to bring a little reality to the fucking show, because we all know what it is. And don't be afraid to put on as real a presentation as possible. Now we have Lesnar about to put Paul Heyman in the F5, and Roman fucking saves him. So we kind of knew that was coming. They were sort of building this up, but you know what? When we had Roman Reigns and Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania 31, I think it's safe to say nobody cared about it, / we just all wanted to see Brock Lesnar kick the shit out of Roman Reigns. And we all know what ended up happening in that match with Seth cashing in, which I at the time took as a fair finish. But I will say this go around 6 years later, and forgive me if they've had any interaction in between now and WrestleMania 31, but I sort of care about this now a little bit more, because now Roman, at the time, Roman was like a John Cena heel, where he would get booed, but they were trying to make him out to be like the good guy. Because he would get booed just because nobody liked him, because he was being shoved down our fucking throats. Now he's booked as the bad guy, so this makes sense. And Steve has no idea what the fuck I'm talking about.
Yeah, unfortunately, it's kind of like, the wrestling thing, just I know enough about enough to do enough, but I kind of let you do your wrestling thing, man.
Well, yeah, and sort of a big deal. Madison Square Garden is where they're at tonight, and as you know, because you're very familiar with like the '80s wrestling, and they call it the Rock and Wrestling era with Hogan and fucking Cyndi Lauper and Piper and all those, Captain Lou, all those characters. But I don't know if you knew this. It is super ridiculously expensive to run a televised event at Madison Square Garden.
Absolutely.
Like compared to like the average arena. And do you know why that is? Or one of the biggest reasons why that is?
I'm going to find out.
All right. Well, let me know what answer you come up with, but I'll tell you what I know is that one of the reasons why is because you have to actually hire all the Madison Square Garden, I guess they're union affiliates.
Yeah, the union workers, absolutely, yeah.
To do all of the work for setting up the show.
Yeah.
So it makes it ridiculously more expensive. So that's why they were working out of Prudential Center instead of Madison Square Garden for a long time. And then when Barclays Center opened up, they sort of said, fuck Prudential Center because it's in Newark. And they do 99% of their shows out of Brooklyn now.
Yeah, because it's cheap there.
But they're only in the Garden tonight, I believe, because of 9/11.
Yeah, and see, that's where, I hate to say this, that's where I don't want to be.
Oh, dude, I'll tell you what. I have to drive to Connecticut tomorrow to my friend's little kid's birthday.
Okay.
I'm a little nervous about like using interstate highways on the 20-year anniversary.
Listen, I can't actually even blame you because, I always said, if you want to cripple New York, right, just cut off access to the island and you cripple New York.
Yeah. So, like, I'm not looking forward to going over the Tappan Zee Bridge or whatever the fuck it's called, the Cuomo Suck My Dick Bridge.
Yeah, oh, God, please.
So hopefully we just get over that bridge quickly and swiftly because who knows? I mean, anything's a target in my opinion. Yeah. And you know what? It could be a target at any time, but I mean, tomorrow is the 20-year motherfucking anniversary. So dude, who knows what intelligence knows? Because I got a weird cryptic email from my job today about being vigilant tomorrow and like watching your surroundings and shit.
Listen, it's only common sense, especially since we pissed off, I don't know, Afghanistan. And who else do we piss off?
Well, it was this is our government. It's not civilians that fucking did it.
I understand that, but right, but of course it's the government, man.
And that's obviously I have a lot of gripes about 9/11, but to destroy 3,000 civilians and so many more that were affected by it, that were relatives or friends or whatever, And this happened in our backyard. It's different for us than someone from like Nebraska.
Listen, it affected the lives of everybody in northern New York and northern New Jersey and New York, right? We're 40 minutes from the city, right? And I work in the city now. It affected everybody, man. Everybody from here commuted. Everybody lost loved ones. It changed everything. I said this story, but here we're getting right off the wrestling show and right into the 20th anniversary.
No, this is fine because I'm always going to bring it back to the wrestling, but they are at the Garden because of 9/11, so this is cool.
Yeah, I was thinking it was paying the security, right, and then all the union workers that set everything up. I totally see the cost is completely high.
And that's just to run TV. Now, in wrestling, I might have told you, I may not have told you, you may have forgotten if I did tell you. There's televised events like we're watching right now on Fox, and then they do what's called house shows, which are like the non-televised events. In the post-pandemic world, they don't do house shows anymore, and business has been a little bit down. But typically, they would do like 1 or 2 televised events a week, and then like 3 or 4 non-televised events. And they do non-televised events at the Garden all the time because it's a lot cheaper.
Wait, hold on. We got. What is this nonsense that's going on right now?
With what?
I'm just looking at the wrestlers that are coming on, and some of them. One guy. This is
the guy with the guitar.
Yeah, the guy with the guitar. A little bit of cheese there.
I don't even know who the fuck that guy is. So I was saying this last week. Vince McMahon has a hard-on for anybody that can play an instrument of any kind. So, like, there's a guy. So Monday Night Raw has, like, a different roster of wrestlers. And there's a guy on Monday Night Raw that plays a fucking trombone. And that's, like, his gimmick. It's like he comes to the ring and plays a fucking trombone.
A trombone?
Yeah. Because this guy, he's not a big dude. I'm definitely bigger than this guy. And for any wrestling fans out there, I don't have to say his name. You know who I'm talking about. But the thing is, you could tell he was probably like a marching band geek in high school. And he trained to become a pro wrestler one day after he went to college and made it. And he probably got into Vince McMahon's ear. He's like, hey, you know what? I play trombone. Like, I could do that.
Who's this guy here with the Hawks?
I have no clue, but he's getting a huge ovation in the Garden.
It looks like they just found him on the street and said, hey, come follow me inside.
Well, his name is on so they call that big screen the Titantron in the back. Trey Young, I guess I'm assuming he might be a Nick, but he's wearing a Hawks sweater, so I don't know.
No, we have to do some, as we do on the other podcast, we have to do some Googling.
FDS would know who this is.
Yeah?
Well, FDS is a big basketball fan. This is no doubt in my mind that's a basketball guy.
Oh, yeah, Rayford Trey Young is American, the Atlanta Hawks.
It's just I don't know why they have a guy from the Atlanta Hawks. That's very random.
Yeah, he's 20. He's 22.
But again, this is more knee-jerk reaction from the WWE to try to get a ratings pop because, as I was telling you before, there's a new fed. It's almost 2 years old. It's like a year and like 11 months old, called AEW, and all the wrestlers want to go there because in the WWE it's very convoluted. They have a staff of like 50 soap opera writers that don't know shit about wrestling, that know less than you. All right? Because at least you know about like Hulk Hogan and those people. They don't even know about that shit. A lot of them are probably like younger than me. And they just take it as like a TV writing gig. And in AEW, there are no writers. It's like wrestling when we were kids. The wrestlers fucking just did what they did. They didn't have anybody. They didn't get handed a 10-page script. These guys got to do monologues, bro. They're not actors. You know what I'm saying?
No, I hear you. And this is the same guy from the last show that I was watching.
Yeah,
the big dude, whatever he is.
I know who you mean. Yeah.
Yeah.
Otis. But in the days of Rock and Stone Cold Steve Austin, you know how many writers there were?
How many?
Just guess. There's at a minimum of 50 now, but just guess how many there were now. I would say, 20, 22 years ago.
10, 13.
Not even. There were 2 writers, and everything kind of got filtered through Vince. But now there's 50 fucking writers, and you don't need 50 writers, man. I never even heard of any show needing 50 writers. Never mind wrestling. So it's just very micromanaged. And a lot of the top stars or former top stars from the WWE are now, when their contracts expire, or jumping ship to AEW. And we saw that last week. I actually paid $50 and I showed the receipt on my show because I was doing a live drink along for that show. And I wanted to show the proof I wasn't like watching it illegitimately. And you're not going to know these names, but we have to talk about it. We saw Ruby Soho, Bryan Danielson, and Adam Cole, who I actually, if you go back and watch the Sunday show, I called it that. I said whether he comes out on TV or not, I predicted Adam Cole was in the building. And I know you don't know these people, Steve, but Adam Cole was one of I would say, top 10 biggest names in the WWE. Bryan, his real name is Bryan Danielson, but in the WWE, he went by Daniel Bryan. Probably a top 5, maybe even a top 3 in terms of how big his name was in the company. So these are really, really, they're throwing haymakers, man. The other Fed.
Okay.
So hopefully at some point they turn into legitimate competition. Now, on the internet, you get a lot of fucking wrestling geeks, way worse than me. Way worse than me. They never even saw a treadmill or a dumbbell in their fucking life, or a piece of pussy for that matter.
Well, that's almost me. The pussy thing,
Well, see, at least you got one of those. And you have a lot of wrestling shows. We'll catch on eventually. We have our one loyal viewer that sticks with us every week for the whole show live, and then we have some people that tune in after the fact. But I've been averaging 8 viewers a week on the show, which is not bad. It's not terrible.
No, it's not
for some, and I don't even really advertise it or anything like that. I want it to grow organically if it does ever grow. It'll grow because I could carry a wrestling show by myself because I know my shit, and it's easy to me. I know for a lot of people it's like a foreign language because they don't care for it, but it's just something I've been into for a long time. Now, a lot of these fucking people, and the thing is, I'll always call it like I see it. If I think one show sucks and another show is great, I'll say that. But you have a lot of people out there on the internet that just suck cock and balls of a lot of these federations out there so they can get access to interviewing the wrestlers and all that stuff. I'm not trying to build my show off having other more famous people on here than me. I want the show to get big because I call it like I see it. I tell it like it is. And I don't give a shit about being on the good graces of any company. And as a matter of fact, I'm really into the new Fed a lot. And I kind of do shit on the WWE a lot. But if I see something I like, I admit it. But sometimes I have to shit on AEW as well, the other Fed. But there's people out there who I'm not going to name their name. But there's definitely people out there that just lick the balls of the WWE and suck on the taint of AEW. And they do that, again, like I said, to sort of stay on their good graces and for access. Or some of these people even think that maybe if their YouTube or podcast shows blow up big enough, they could potentially get hired by those companies. That's not my aspiration. My aspiration is to be truthful. And those are the best actors, Steve. I don't know if you knew that, but the best actors they stay truthful to their character. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's my approach, man. And I probably like a lot of stuff that a lot of so-called wrestling aficionados or experts would shit on, and vice versa, because it's an art. It's fucking subjective. And what's on right now seems to be some sort of 8-man tag match that they just kind of shoehorned together.
Yeah.
And to me, it's shit. It's just something to fill time.
And some guy in his boxers, and now Trey Young is getting like, it's
just not good. I mean, see, the thing is, they should want people like you to be flipping the channels and see this and want to stop flipping channels. But that's not going to happen. But one thing I did want to talk about, so WWE obviously has the biggest fan base and they have the highest ratings. AEW, with their main show on Wednesday night, is sort of starting to creep up, and they're starting to catch up to Raw in the ratings. But this is what the internet dick lickers do, Steve. I'm going to share my screen, and this is great having you on for this because I know you love when I share my screen.
Absolutely. They can talk about something that, like, you know.
All right, so this is a TV rating site, and let's go to Monday night. Let's see. What was Monday, the 6th?
Yeah, I mean, today's the 10th, so.
I believe Monday. Yeah, okay. So this is Monday, all right? So for cable, look. So WWE Raw, or it's listed as WWE Entertainment, which is a little redundant because that's like that Italian movie, Mickey Blue Eyes, for the name of the restaurant was the La Trattoria.
Yeah.
And that's like saying the Trattoria.
Yeah. The
Calling it WWE Entertainment is calling it World Wrestling Entertainment.
Yeah,
I mean, just smarten the fuck up. The show is called Monday Night Raw. But anyway, it's a 3-hour show, so they break it down hour by hour. You could see, other than college football, it's the highest rated show on cable on Monday night. Now, what the internet dick lickers do, and I don't know if you could see my mouse pointer. Can you or no?
Yeah, we can see it.
I'm circling. These are like the demographic breakdowns. And to a certain degree, they do matter. But really, what matters here is what I'm circling here. This is the bottom line. This is the amount of viewers in millions. So they had about 1.8 million viewers, basically.
Wow, that's a decent amount of people watching.
Well, when Austin and Rock were on top, you could probably multiply this number by 10.
Yeah, okay. I can see that.
So business is really, really down, okay? But just keep that. We'll stick it because you have a 1.9, 1.8, 1.7.
Yeah.
So we'll stick with the 1.8.
Yeah.
All right. Just keep that number in the back of your head. All right. Now let's go to Wednesday when the other Fed is on with their flagship show. Shit, did I go to the right night?
Well, you also got to remember Monday was Memorial Day.
Oh, I went to Tuesday.
Yeah, but I'm saying this the Monday that we looked at, that was a holiday, Memorial Day.
But that's about like the average rating they do.
Okay.
I keep hitting Tuesday by accident. All right, here's Wednesday. All right, so as you could see on Wednesday, the other Fed was the highest rated show for Wednesday night on cable, and they only had a 1.3, all right? So they lost by not a significant amount, but they lost. They lost outright, and they are creeping up little by little in terms of ratings because their ratings were definitely a lot lower when they started. But all the internet dick lickers now are looking at some of like these key demographics that they won outright in, and they're saying, oh, well, and the headline will be like, AEW beats WWE in ratings, and then like there'll be an asterisk, and then they'll stay in such and such demographic. So like those are the kinds of like internet dick lickers out there that I'm talking about. And these are the people that think that if their shit blows up, they're going to get a job offer from Tony Khan, who owns AEW. Tony Khan's father, by the way, Mr. Khan, owns Manchester United and the Jacksonville Jaguars. He's a self-made billionaire.
So that's one of those guys that can always make money then.
Yeah. So I don't know when AEW is going to turn a profit for the Khan family, but they're doing a hell of a job. And they have a show tonight at 10 o'clock. SmackDown ends at 10. They launched a new show called Rampage. It goes on at 10 o'clock on TNT. But this is what I'm talking about. And these are the people that make those headlines that they're catching up to Raw. They beat Raw in this demographic. First of all, these ratings are nothing to brag about. Because 20 years ago, they were getting 5 to 10 times more viewers. All right.
I'm sure that the viewer count is down. Wrestling is one of those things that has fallen off a little bit.
And second of all, why would you want to mislead people? Again, one day if I ever get enough viewers or enough of a following, I'm always just going to call it like I see it. And these are hard numbers. And when you see people, it's like what CNN does with factually correct information. They distort it. They cherry pick things like, not to get into the whole George Floyd thing. We've beaten that to death on our other show. But what do? They cherry pick things like it's like a Rorschach test, right? Everyone sees something different. When in reality, 2 + 2 does equal 4. But what they're saying is 3 + 1 = 6. You know what I mean?
It's more a better way to describe it. There is that they focus on negative things to get people's reaction, rather than trying to have good content or good actors. They're focusing on negative things, and that's what they do, like the news.
Right. And they cherry pick certain things. So they may not be lying to you, but you're not getting everything in full context.
Right. Well, it's like after the first hurricane, it was supposed to rain again, and they're saying how everybody's going to die and we're going to go flooding again because of this tremendous rain, and nothing even came.
Right. And my whole thing is too, and I think you can apply how the news takes a lot of shit out of context, if not everything out of context. You could apply that with these fucking wrestling nerds on the internet when they wanted to say AEW beat Raw in the ratings. Well, put it in context. And no, they didn't. It's as simple as that. And this is a live drink along, folks. So we are still watching SmackDown a little bit, kind of. And we just saw Charlotte Flair in the background. Oh, my boy Steve dropped. But another thing that's sort of a pet peeve of mine with the WWE is how they constantly change people's names. I didn't think anything was wrong with the name Charlotte. We know she's the daughter of Ric Flair. And I don't think her entrance song needs to be like the fucking remix of Ric Flair's song. Again, that's just me. Might be a little nitpicky. I don't know. And she looks like she's had some work done. Or as a matter of fact, having work done, that might have even been Carmella. Let's see. So we are about 35 minutes into Raw. And I wouldn't say anything exciting has really happened. What do we have? We have Edge versus Seth Rollins tonight. So that's a SummerSlam match. So they are giving pay-per-view matches away on TV. And again, that's more the knee-jerk reaction. And I was with you guys on Sunday night. And for anyone that tuned in, thank you for tuning in on Sunday night for the live all-out watch-along. That was a lot of fun. I was trying to watch the show too, and I just didn't have it in me to go for the whole 3 hours. But one day when I get a following and I have more than my one loyal viewer with me, we'll go for the whole show. But I got to say, that was one of the most fun wrestling shows I've seen in a long time. The card was stacked top to bottom. And again, this is not a preview show. It's not a prediction show. It's not a review show. I'm just here to give you a fresh take on things as somebody that's just loved this art for so long. And in my opinion, everybody delivered. That I was with you for the first 3 matches. My only gripe was that the first 2 matches could have been spread out a little more because they were almost kind of the same match. But they were both great. I thought they both delivered. As they're panning the garden, where I was 17 years ago for 20. You could see me. Rocking my DX, motherfucker. And I think it's important that that's my first motherfucker of the night. Like I said before, the gratuitous curse is okay, but cursing just to curse, I'm over it. Got to grow. You got to grow as a content creator. I really think we fucking there we go again. I really think we bored Steve to death, man. I even went on a little early for him because I thought he was going to stick it out. I was originally going to go on at 9:00, but that's okay. There's stuff to talk about. So it looks like we have some sort of contract signing for Bianca Belair, who I guess at Extreme Rules is going to take on Becky Lynch. Hopefully this match lasts for longer than, 15 seconds? There's just no excuse for what they did to Bianca Belair at SummerSlam, in my opinion. You let her close out night 2 of WrestleMania. You gave her a moment. I have no problem with her dropping the belt. I do have a problem with damn near every woman on the roster having a title reign. Because I don't care if you play hot potato with the belt. Do whatever you want. But when 90% of the women's roster has had a belt, how valuable is that? I'm not going to say that's everybody gets a trophy. But take the NFL, for example. I know we're comparing something predetermined to a sport. But if every team, there's 32 teams, right? So if they rotated it so that every 32 years, one team was guaranteed to win the Super Bowl, then the next, and the next, and the next, what would that do to the value of the Lombardi Trophy? It wouldn't mean dick. It means something because even though there's been over 50 Super Bowls and there's 32 teams, there's teams that even haven't been to the game of the Super Bowl to get the Lombardi Trophy. And here you have these belts. Again, I only think you need one belt for both brands. That's just me. But damn near every woman on the roster has had a belt. And we can go through that. We can look into that right now. WWE roster 2021. And I'm not an expert on the current day product. I'm really not by any means. If anything, I'm probably now just a casual fan. I don't really even listen to wrestling podcasts anymore for the most part, at least current day, at least ones that talk about current day product. I like to have fun when I'm listening to podcasts, which is why I know you're here, which is why I know you're either watching on YouTube Live drinking with me or you're listening on Spotify, Stitcher, Apple Podcasts, or what's the other one? Google? Who the hell gets their podcast through Google? That's weird. But let's do a screen share for those of you watching. And let's see what we can come up with. All right, here's the full 2021 roster. See, I want it breaking down by gender. Let's see if we can find a site that breaks it down by gender. Again, I am my own Jamie, so it just sort of is what it is. I'm sure Wikipedia. if we just go to Wikipedia, I'm sure they have the roster. I know they have in the past. Man, I really do need that drink for this. All right, so let's go. They're separating it by brand. That's fine. We're not going to touch NXT. We're not going to touch UK. UK is not even a brand, if you ask me. It's just foreign developmental that gets televised every now and then. Let's see. Let's see. I know they used to have, all right, personnel. Okay, cool. It's divided by genders. All right. So Alexa Bliss has definitely been a champion. Aaliyah must be recently called up. She hasn't been a champion. Asuka's been a champion. Charlotte's been a champion. All right, so we're 3 out of 4 right now have been a champion. Dana Brooke, I don't think so. Doudrop, I don't think so. Eva Marie, I don't think so. Lacey Evans, I know, is in the mix. Not sure if she's been a champion. Let's see. Don't think so. Hey, look, I could be wrong. Mia Yim, Nia Jax. Was Nia Jax ever a champion? Yeah, she's okay. She's been a champion. Nikki Ash, definitely. Rhea Ripley, definitely. Shayna Baszler. I can't believe she's never been a singles brand champ. All right, so you have 1, 2, 3. Let's see if Eva Marie ever had a championship. I don't think so. Not even Eva Marie. All right, so Alexa, Asuka, Charlotte, Nia, and Rhea Ripley. So that's 5 out of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. All right, so that's like 40% of the Raw roster has been the champion. Let's take a look at the SmackDown. And this is weird. It's like they don't even have a they don't even have the SmackDown roster on here. That's bizarre. That's bizarre that they would have the Raw roster and not the SmackDown roster. Wikipedia is really messed up, man. I really hope you guys don't get your information from Wikipedia. It's just good for some quick info here and there. But yeah, you just feel like everybody's had the belt. And to me, it just diminishes whatever value that belt is supposed to have, at least. So we're recapping SummerSlam right now. I wanted to give you guys some SmackDown audio, but I just can't stand the sound of Michael Cole's fucking voice. All right, so that's going to be a good match. So they're definitely going to deliver on that. We just had a contract signing between Becky and, man, why am I blanking? Bianca. And we know how contract signings always go. Let's go back to that because we're getting replays right now. So let's go back a little bit. It is a watch along after all. Let's see what happened here. Becky wearing some sort of fur coat, by the way, some sort of over-the-top fur coat.
The original WrestleMania main eventer has arrived. You're welcome. Esther, do you want to know how I knew I had your number at SummerSlam? I saw your face when my music hit. Starstruck you were. Delighted to share the...
That's such a lame excuse for her squashing her in like 10 seconds.
Can be a fan, or you can be the man. And look, ain't no shame in buying a ticket and sitting out there with the regular people.
Now, the one thing I am wondering, and we could pull up the card for Extreme Rules, I'm wondering what kind of match this is going to be. And I think everybody pretty much is on board with me that these gimmick pay-per-views got to stop. I don't know when they started doing this, but why? Just why? Why is this a thing? All right, so 5 matches announced so far. And by the way, if you're going to have a brand extension, I don't mind having separate pay-per-views. I don't know what they have against that. All right, so the name of the pay-per-view is Extreme Rules. And there's not one single stipulation listed in any of these 5 matches. Unless you're going to tell me every match is a extreme match or a hardcore match. But I'm not seeing that. I'm not seeing that anywhere. This is pathetic. This is actually pathetic. All right. Nothing against the talent, but you're having a pay-per-view called Extreme Rules. And these all look like these should be grudge matches. But let's go back to the audio of the show here.
For you people, and you're favoring a flash in the pan over me. That's a deep cut. The York's still doing it, though.
I just don't get what's happening right now. Again, we're not really watching it. We sort of are, but we're not.
Fine. If you can't join them, beat them, and I will beat them. I will give you your match, but it's going to end the same way.
I think I heard the crowd chanting TLC.
Came back last minute notice. Last minute.
Will defend the Smackdown Women's Championship against Bianca Belair 2 weeks from Sunday. And Extreme Rules. There'll be no running that night.
Yeah, I think the crowd was chanting TLC because for like a TLC match, and Cole just basically said she's just going to defend the title. That's it. We live in a crazy world where nothing makes sense in WWE land. But they're not losing in ratings. We all know that. Well, at least now there's another place. But let's run down this card real quick since we got it open. Becky Lynch versus Bianca Belair looks to be the main event. Damien Priest versus Sheamus for the United States Championship. And again, they're really giving Priest a lot of TV time. So you could tell Vince is big on him. And I don't disagree with that. Seems pretty well deserved to me. That should be a good match if it's anything like that triple threat from a few weeks ago. We have Bobby Lashley going against Orton, which I would be surprised if that didn't turn into some sort of a tag match. But it is for the WWE Championship. But that booking makes no sense. Let's take the most popular tag team out of both brands. I'm not even considering NXT a brand anymore. They could call it whatever the fuck they want, right? You could take a bucket of piss and call it Granny's Peach Tea. But NXT is not a brand. It's just not a brand. But why would they put the hottest act, which happens to be a tag team? They might be the most over act period in the company. And you put them in a singles match, or one half of the team in a singles match. Makes no sense to me. Then you have Charlotte versus Alexa Bliss for the Raw Women's Championship. And again, these are only 5 matches, and they're all title matches. And I've talked about this too. Not only does everybody getting a turn with the belt diminish the belts, if every match is a title match, it doesn't mean jack shit to have a title. It also looks like, despite Brock Lesnar tonight, we're going to get Roman Reigns versus Finn Balor. But who knows? That could turn into a triple threat, possibly. But, I mean, look, Brock's not popping ratings for them. Brock's not getting them significant more viewers. So, pretty interesting. Let's see what Paul Heyman's got to say backstage.
What? Hi, Paul.
He's so good at his
I was
character.
just wondering if there was an update on whether or not Roman Reigns is going to accept Brock Lesnar's challenge.
All you do is nag, poke, 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 till you get your answers, right? You want an update? Here's an update. The tribal chief, Roman Reigns, is going to witness his cousins, the Usos, defend the Smackdown Tag Team Championships against the Street Profits, and then, live in Madison Square Garden, the tribal chief, Roman Reigns, tonight will answer the challenge of Brock Lesnar. Now, whether that's a yes or a no, don't you just love a good cliffhanger?
Big E. Again, backstage with Paul Heyman. With the brief. Big E's good, man. Look, there's so many guys that have had the fucking belt that are inferior to Big E. Hey, our friend's back. So I say give the fucking guy a run with the belt. I'm talking about the guy Big E that just had the green briefcase backstage. I was just saying there's a lot worse guys that have had the belt. So when you have that briefcase, basically you have to win that briefcase in an 8-man ladder match. Do you know what a ladder match is?
Yeah.
Okay. So the briefcase is hanging from the rafters. You climb the ladder to get it. And that briefcase, you could basically use it anytime to fucking have a title match with the heavyweight champion.
Okay.
And so what people usually do is like they'll wait for like a title match to happen and the guy get the shit kicked out of him, and then they'll use the briefcase and win the belt like that.
Okay.
This is all in storyline, of course, because it's not real.
Right. Listen, I mean, you got to give him credit. He's worth $2.1 billion. So he's done something right.
Are you talking about Vince?
Yeah.
Oh, is he really worth that much?
2.1 billion, yeah, man.
Dude, he took a big hit on XFL 2.0.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I guess if you have this nonsense and you think that like the XFL, you know, might be the next biggest thing.
And remember, he tried it like in the probably, I think it might have been the year 2000 or 2001. He tried it.
Yeah. And
it got huge ratings like week 1, and then it just fucking went to shit. but he actually got his pal Dick Ebersol to co-produce that with him. Do you know who that is?
No, I don't know who that is.
So he basically co-created Saturday Night Live.
Okay.
And he's a
this when Saturday Night Live was funny, or
like in the 70s. Yeah.
When Saturday Night Live was
like the original Saturday Night Live.
Yeah, got it.
Not the garbage that's on now.
Right. Just for clarification to the viewers.
Yeah. So I don't know if you remember in the 80s, there used to be a show on NBC, WWF Saturday Night Main Event. And it would be on like once every couple of months when Saturday Night Live would like have an off night.
Okay.
And basically Dick Ebersol co-produced that with Vince. And that's how they sort of formed the relationship. And that's how Vince got NBC to cover the XFL the first time.
Yeah. I mean, listen, the XFL failed, but I mean, the wrestling, I mean, listen, there's enough people watching it. It's worth $2.1 billion. He's doing something better than me and you.
Oh, yeah. And the guy works his ass off. The guy works like, I don't know how many hours in a week, but just take that number and add a 1 to it. And that's how many hours this guy fucking works. He works like crazy, I hear.
Listen, every successful businessman always works 100 hours a week.
Yeah, and whatever, right. But he works more than that. He's like pushing 80 at this point.
You know, I hear what you're saying, but he's always on, right? He's always working. He's always involved, right?
And that's why people get burnt out working for him. Like, not even like the wrestlers per se, but like all the behind the scenes people.
Yeah, no, I understand what you're saying.
Like the corporate people.
Right, because this dude is pushing 80 and he's eating, sleeping, and shit in wrestling because that's what he does. That's why he's successful, and everybody else around it can't keep up. I could see that.
Yeah. And they're only in Stamford. I've actually applied to work there a couple times.
Really?
They're right on I-95 in Stamford, yeah. You could actually live here and feasibly commute there.
That's a rough commute. I've worked Stamford with an M or N?
Well, Stanford with an N is in California.
Right, so it's Stamford. So this is where, like, I used to take care of buildings up there, right? I mean, it's, you know.
I mean, look, it's a little bit of a hike from here, but you could commute there if you really wanted to.
I mean, that's a tough 2-hour drive.
It ain't 2 hours.
Hour and a half.
Yeah, it's now. Yeah, for sure. It's
hour and a half each way, 3 hours a day. I mean, yeah, maybe if you had to go once or twice, but I mean, if you have to work all kinds of crazy hours.
And see, like that, I used to when I worked in Midtown. I mean, that was easily an hour and a half door to door.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Listen, I do it now, right? I get in a car. It's an hour and 20 minutes with no train. You know,
it's still take. Well, you live further away now too.
Well, it's also picked up, right? The traffic's picked up. But I take the where I got to work is on the Lower East Side, so I typically go through the Holland Tunnel.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, so it's actually closer to me because I'm on 24.
So right now, and again, this is all knee-jerk reaction because of all these guys jumping to the other Fed.
Okay.
So right now, we got in the ring Seth Rollins doing a dive out to Edge. These are two main event level pay-per-view guys, and they're giving us a pay-per-view matchup on network TV. And this is all knee-jerk reaction to the recent influx of guys going to the other Fed. It's crazy.
Yeah, when you say they're giving you a pay-per-view action on network TV, that means that there's nothing better on network TV, and it's not enough money for pay-per-view. That's basically what that tells me.
Well, this match was literally on pay-per-view like 3 weeks ago.
Okay.
At SummerSlam.
And how much was it? How much was SummerSlam pay-per-view?
Well, remember I was explaining to you like that they do the network for $9.99 a month.
Oh yeah, $9.99 a month, right? So it's not really that much money paid.
But I mean, like, I don't know if it's still a thing, but when they launched the network, you could still order a pay-per-view for like $50. Like the other night, I ordered the other Fed's pay-per-view. It was like $50.
Yeah, I was gonna say pay-per-view should be like $50.
Yeah.
That's what I was at, $75 for like.
But I'll tell you what, though, it was, and again, I'm not a dick sucker. I call it like I see it. I thought it was worth the $50. Honestly, it was a really good show. I would never pay $50 for anything WWE is doing right now. So that just goes to show you, like, my opinion of the new Fed compared to this one.
Yeah, I mean, I unfortunately, I'm not going to spend any money on pay-per-views. I don't typically buy that. I'll buy a movie for like, $5-10 or whatever. That's the extent of it. I don't buy sports pay-per-views.
Well, the thing is, dude, I like to support things I believe in and things I like. So there's even a few podcasters out there that I get some of my news from, and they sell their shit way overpriced, but I'll buy it to support them and keep them on the air because like that's what they're trying to do as like a full-time deal,
Right. Yeah, no, I can totally understand that, right? I can totally understand supporting a YouTuber, right? So, anybody that's watching the show, you need to like and subscribe. And then, we don't sell anything, but, just like and subscribe, pass the news, tell your degenerate friends to watch us.
That's a great point, and I'm actually going to put that on the ticker. I did it on the ticker the other night, and I forgot to do it tonight. Yeah. I got to take advantage of that ticker more.
Yeah, I think that the YouTube platform is a way for anybody to get out there and, do whatever they want. They can have
there it is.
Anything. Yep, there it is. Yep.
But do I think that show was worth $50 for pay-per-view? No. I would have paid $50 for a ticket for that show. But I did it because I do like to support things I believe in, and I do believe that AEW, the new Fed, I think they're doing right by the talent. Like I said, they have no writers there, and I think they're doing right by the fans. I think they're giving the fans what they want, and the WWE is doing the opposite. They're not doing right by the talent because they're so micro-fucking managed. And like I said, they're getting these like 10-page monologues, which is crazy. And they're ultimately not doing right by the fans because you know what they're doing? They're not just taking shit and throwing it against the wall and seeing what sticks. They're trying to be like this big variety show where it's like, oh, okay, this segment is for the kids, and this segment is for the housewives, and this segment is for the 30-year fans. And it's like, no, every segment should just be the best segment it should be. And that's what's going to draw eyeballs to your product.
I hear you. So now let me ask you a question. You know how you were saying that these shows are syndicated on some other streaming platforms, right?
Okay, so for the WWE specifically, they have a deal with Fox for SmackDown, which is what's on right now. And it's like whatever it is, a 3-year deal or a 5-year deal. I don't know the particulars. All right. Then they have a deal with USA Network, which is owned by NBC Universal for Monday Night Raw. And it's the same kind of a deal where they get paid X amount of money for X amount of years to carry their show. And then about almost 8 years ago, they started their own streaming platform, the WWE Network. It was their own. They owned it. And what they decided to do in the past year is put out to bid basically leasing rights to carry their streaming service for them.
Okay.
So Peacock, who is the NBC Universal streaming service, paid a crazy amount of money, I think $500 million for it, for the rights for it for 5 years.
Wow.
But look, I'm still spending the same $9.99 a month, and I get all the shit Peacock has on it now. Peacock actually has a lot of shit on it. So anything that's on NBC or USA is automatically on Peacock.
Okay.
So I practically don't even need. I use YouTube TV instead of cable for my TV. I don't even need it. at this point because I have fucking HBO Max, I have Peacock, and what else do I have? I gotta have more shit than that.
I gotta say that there's nothing on TV that's really worth watching.
And I have Amazon Prime Video.
Yeah, well that has like 30-year-old movies that are still bad 30 years ago.
Yeah, but still, it's something. HBO Max, Peacock, and there's so much shit just on YouTube.
Yeah,
that like, and aren't you supposed to get network TV for free anyway? Like channel 2, 4, 5, 7.
100 years ago, yeah.
So I don't really even know if I need YouTube TV, to be honest with you. Between all the shit I have, and I have Netflix. It's, you know,
Yeah.
I don't know if it's my account that's logged in, but I have it.
I don't know if it's my account, but it's logged in. The one random broad that came over for like a Netflix and chill that she logged into your Netflix. And then
Actually, you know what's funny? I don't know if I told you that and you happen to remember that, but that's really what happened.
Oh, that's fantastic.
And she actually, not only did we do that, she bought the fucking UFC fights that day too.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I was like, you don't have to do that. And she's like, no, I want to. And I was like, all right. And she wanted to do some other things too. So what was I going to do? Say no?
Yeah, no. I mean, listen, you got to capitalize on that.
Hey, like they said in Goodfellas, I'd complain, but who'd listen?
Fair.
The in-ring action right now actually is good. I knew this was going to be a good match. I'll probably go back and rewatch it at some point.
What do you think that the surface of the ring is made out of? Like,
so there is actually, I've seen it. I've seen them put rings together, and I've seen them take rings apart. There's plywood under that canvas, bro, with like a small layer of foam. That's all there is. So like that shit hurts. It's not like falling on a trampoline.
no, I understand that. Well, that's what I was asking. Is it trampoline material? Is it made for TV, or does it actually hurt a little bit?
I mean, they mic it, so like when you slam, like it makes a noise.
Right.
But yeah, dude, it's just basically plywood with like a little layer of foam over it.
Yeah. So that can't be feel too good when you fall off the top ring and then you face slam into the ground.
Well, that's why a lot of people that train to be wrestlers, one of the first things they make you do when you train, they call it. So when you fall flat on your back, say that 5 times fast. They call it taking a bump. So one of the first things they make you do in wrestling school, besides running the ropes, that's obvious, right? What that means. It means like run from one side to the other, to the other, to the other, to the other, to the other.
Yeah.
They make you take bumps. And a lot of people that want to be a wrestler can't do that. And that's like one of the main key fundamental things you have to do. That's like taking a bump in wrestling is to football what like blocking is. If you want to be a lineman.
I hear you say taking a bump, and all I can think is, yeah.
I mean,
nose candy.
Well, yeah, yeah.
The
But
booger sugar.
Basically, it's knowing how to fall.
Yeah,
and it does. You really do fall. I mean, there's an art to it. I mean, you don't want to fucking hit your head. There's a way to do it semi-safely.
Yeah, but that's what it's got to be. It's got a lot to be about how to fake hit people, how to not get hurt.
Yeah, because a lot of these people do hurt other people, and there's a lot of people that don't hurt a lot of other people. Like, I'm sure you've heard of Bret the Hitman Hart.
Yeah.
He never hurt anybody his whole career, but his career ended because Goldberg fucking went to like do a kick to his head and really kicked him.
Ooh.
And that was it. It was like a running kick with momentum. Because Goldberg was just like not untrained, but I don't know what the word I'm looking for is, but somewhere between like he was trained, but he was still a fucking animal at the same time. And he just wasn't, he was, I guess, reckless would be the best word.
Yeah, I understand that.
So that should happen. And look, Bret Hart's brother Owen, who died in the ring, fucking broke Stone Cold Steve Austin's neck at the Meadowlands. I was there for that. That was SummerSlam 97.
Wow.
Doing a pile driver, and he did the pile driver wrong, and he broke the guy's neck right in the middle of the ring. And Austin couldn't move his limbs for like, I think, 10 seconds.
Jesus.
And Austin's last match wasn't until 6 years later at WrestleMania 19 against The Rock. But his career was very limited in between those 2 points as far as like what he could do and what he couldn't do. And after 6 years of working on that broken neck, he couldn't do it anymore.
Yeah, I mean, it's got to be tough.
As a matter of fact, he's like a big like Texas guy, and well, he's from Texas, obviously. That's why he's a big Texas guy, but he's got a ranch, and he calls it the Broken Skull Ranch. Actually, there's Stone Cold right now on the commercial.
Yep. All right, well, listen, we're just hitting the little hour mark. I know I was on and off here. Had some personal emergencies going on. I'll tell you at another time, but my kid was in the emergency room. She broke her wrist today.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, so a little bit of nonsense going on here in the household. And, yeah, so that was that. And then my aunt was calling me to make sure that she was okay. And anyways.
All right. All right.
On that note, go back to the wrestling show. Peace out.
All right, Steve. Always good having someone to play off of on the wrestling show.
Yeah. Try doing something here. I mean, I think we should have a breakout show. Besides on Common Sense in this one, maybe we do a different topic because I like I could do any talk about anything, but wrestling is just not my forte, so to speak.
Oh yeah, and dude, wrestling is the only show I'm confident enough to do on my own.
All right.
Well, and politics, but I'm getting away from that, dude, because and I'm not going to talk politics on the wrestling show, but until they really get to the root of the problem, which is the voting, and we'll just leave it at that, you're not going to fix jack shit. So honestly, I'm not even interested in politics anymore. I heard the Meat Puppet president yesterday made some sort of announcement that companies of 100 or more are going to mandate the haircut, which we call it haircut as a code word on our other show. We're talking about the vaccine. But that can't happen. That's so illegal and so unconstitutional. He can't do that.
Listen, let me ask you a question. How, I don't know, I think that there's so much going on with this that, they're forcing you to do things. I don't know how they're going to implement it. 100 million people they're trying to force. I think it's just a battle that they shouldn't be fighting. You want to get vaccinated. You don't.
Dude, if they really try to do something to enforce that, they're going to start some shit that they don't want to start.
I could tell you, and we'll save this really for the entire topic for our other show when we have it. But I could tell you that there was a person in front of me getting in the emergency room, right? And, I'm 3 feet away from her. She's registering, and I'm trying to register to get in to see my kid. And she's like, yeah, I tested positive for COVID, and I was vaccinated in March. And she was checking herself into the emergency room. So,
well, their whole talking point to that, because in the world of sales, you have objections and talking points and all that jazz. So they have the same thing for the vaccine, right? So the talking point for the vaccine is, well, if you still catch it, your symptoms are only going to be minimal. In the meantime, we know people that died with the vaccine from COVID.
Right. And this one here's checking herself into the ER, so it can't be like she has no symptoms.
So I don't know what's happening, but we'll save it for the other show.
Right.
Don't want to chase away all those wrestling geeks out there.
No, but look, here's your Extreme Rules over here on the replay.
Yeah, Extreme Rules is the name of their next upcoming pay-per-view. Which I got into a whole rant about that because now what they're starting or not starting to do something they've been doing for years, which drives me nuts, is they take like the concept of a match and they do the whole pay-per-view after that match. And Steve left. We've already talked about this. All right, Juiceheads. Well, that's really all I had for tonight, I think. So enjoy Rampage. We're about 40 minutes away from Rampage. Enjoy Edge versus Seth Rollins because they're definitely burning it down, and I did mean to say that. And at least it looks to be a semi-decent SmackDown. And we'll get back to you guys next week on Friday night. I might pop on at 8. I might pop on at 9. I might pop on at 10. We just never know. Got to keep the juice heads in fucking suspense. I really think I limited the amount of times tonight I used the word fuck. But if you'd be so kind, please hit that like and subscribe button. By the way, we're not just going to do wrestling shows on this channel. We were supposed to do a football show tomorrow, but my partner couldn't do tomorrow, so we'll probably kick it off next week. And my future flagship show, replacing What's Trending on my old channel, is going to be called You Have Juice. Get it? Because I'm Juice. And I'm still working out exactly what that show is going to be. I don't want it to be a carbon copy of my former show that I did called What's Trending. Although I do want to incorporate elements from What's Trending into it. So we'll figure that out. And that's all I got for you guys. Yeah, that's all I got for you guys. And like I said, enjoy WWE in the Garden because they usually at least try to do a good job when they're in the Garden. And enjoy Rampage. We'll see you guys next week. Peace the fuck out.